Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Sinesi from timsinesiyoga.com, and today we're going to do a vinyasa flow class. We'll work the whole body, and we're going to start off with a little warm-up, then we'll hold into the stretches, and then we'll in the standing pose, which will also help to strengthen your body, and then we'll go into some more restorative, mellowed out poses, which are just as important. They're really important for your nervous system and opening up your body. We're going to start off with a little seated meditation. I recommend having a little block to sit on. And I actually have a couple of blocks for today's practice. If you have those, they might come in handy. Sit up straight and tall, but then start to relax your body. So let your legs relax, relax your hips, shoulders. And for just a moment, feel your breath. Notice where it feels like the breath originates from. The expanding from your center, opening up as you breathe in, and the cooling, calming, contracting sensation as you breathe out. Expand as you breathe in, and feel the grounding and calming as you breathe out. Now also, notice if you can feel the body. So feel where your hands and your feet are in space. Practice feeling sensations in the whole body as you breathe. And gently open your eyes, but keep your focus inward in your body. You want to stay in touch with that throughout the practice. And we'll come into our first pose, child's pose, with the toes curled under. So open up your 10 toes and start to stretch your hips back towards your heels, and then start to slide your arms forward. Now start to elongate to the sides of your trunk. Instead about how far down you can go, see how long you can make your body. And then I want you to do that same thing when you do down dog. So now lift yourself up, and instead of how far down you can move yourself, see how long you can make the sides of your trunk, of your ribs, and reach into your hands, like you're gonna stand on the hands. Then walk your feet forward. Let your head drop. And then slowly roll yourself up to stand. Stand tall up over your ankles with your heart open. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose, one leg at a time. Then lower down onto your belly. Inhale into cobra pose. Lower your chest back down, press up on the hands and knees with a strong core, and stretch back to downward dog. So as you build the strength in your upper body, I really recommend, strongly suggest starting with your knees down. As you are able to hold a long spine without rounding or sinking in your middle with your knees down, over time you'll be able to do a chaturanga well. But until then, I really suggest doing it with the knees down. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. So I'm going to be demonstrating that today, just to give you a little encouragement. It's fine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms. Exhale the hands to your heart. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose, one leg at a time. Lower down, slow with control. Inhale into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your feet to the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale into chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower, chaturanga. Inhale into cobra. And then roll through into upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your right foot up by your right thumb. Set up your back heel for warrior one, then hug your right hip into the midline. Lift from your belly, come up with a long spine, strong core, raise your arms. Exhale, downward dog, stretch back. Step your left foot up by your left thumb. Set up your back heel, hug your left hip back into the midline and inhale, come up. Exhale, downward dog, stretch back. Look in between your hands. Step or float up to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, stand in mountain. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Step back to down dog or take a vinyasa. Step your right foot up by your right thumb. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, vinyasa, or step back to down dog. Step your left foot up. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, vinyasa, or step back to down dog. Look in between your hands. Step, walk, or hop up to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose, bend your knees and sit back. Stand and release your arms at your side. Then take your feet hip socket distance apart. Roll your shoulders back, inhale. Exhale, fold forward and hook your big toes. As you inhale, elongate your spine, reach forward, see the core of the spine lengthen, and then exhale, fold deeply. Inhale, flat back. Then slide your hands underneath your feet so the toes come all the way to the wrist crease. You might have to bend the knees to do this a little or a lot. And then fold forward again. Release your hands out from underneath your feet and press to your heels, come up to stand. Clasp your elbows behind your back and step your left foot back about 3.5 feet. Roll your shoulders back and inhale. Then as you exhale, fold forward halfway out over that leg. Pause there, elongate. And then as your belly draws in, lengthen all the way out over your right leg. Inhale, come back up. Step your back leg forward and change sides. Change the clasp of the elbows. Roll your shoulders back, inhale. Exhale, start to lengthen out over your left leg. Pause halfway, reach through your back heel, pull your left hip crease back. And then as you exhale, lengthen take all that length out over your left leg. Inhale, come back up. Then step your back leg forward. Twisted triangle. For twisted triangle, I'm going to use a couple of blocks. I'll put one block back at the back of the mat. Step your right foot back about 3.5 feet and then spin to the back of your mat. Set up your feet just like they were for the last pose. Inhale your left arm up to the ceiling. Reach through your heel, reach past your fingers. Exhale, twist. Put your hand on the outside of your foot. Use the block or use the floor. First, elongate your spine. And then start to turn your ribs. So make sure that the crown of your head is aiming straight out through the line of your right big toe. You aren't rounding over or leaning back. Once you're steady, take your right arm up. Then reach through your feet, come back up to stand, and let's do the other side. Inhale, reach past your fingers. Exhale, twist. Easy, gee. Find the length to the big toe line, turn your ribs, and once you're steady, take your arm up. Press through your feet and inhale, come back up. Then step your back leg forward and stand tall in mountain pose. Let's try Utthita Hasta. Bring your right knee up, hand to your right knee. Phase one, hold here, work on the knee. If you have the flexibility to, take your big toe. Then open the leg to the side. And if you want to challenge your flexibility even more, try stretching the leg out to the side. Then bring your leg forward, straight out in front of you. Then cross your right ankle just above your left knee. Bring your hands to prayer, and then start to sit back like you're sitting into a chair. Hold there or tap the elbows down to the shin. Hold there or put the hands down onto the floor. Inhale, come back up to stand. Mountain pose. Press down through your right heel and bring your left knee up, or take your left big toe. Then open the leg to the side, and maybe start to stretch your left leg towards straight. Bring your leg to center, hold, stay tall. Then cross your ankle just above your knee. Bring your hands to prayer and start to sit back like you're sitting in a chair. Hold there, bring the elbows to the shin. Hold there or fold all the way forward. Come back up to stand. Mountain pose. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back to down dog or take a vinyasa. Then set your left knee down onto the floor and align your left hand right underneath your shoulder. Open up to the side. Make sure the shoulder is over the heel of the hand. Take your right arm up. Then hold here with your head back in alignment with your spine, your chest open. You have a nice mountain pose spine, or stretch your left leg out behind your right. But if you round over, it'd be better to keep the knee down and just work on opening up the shoulder and reaching down, bearing weight without rounding. Now slowly with control, come into plank pose. Set your right knee down, line up the hand under the shoulder, and open up. Then hold there, or adding on, stretch the right leg out behind the left. Slowly with control, come into plank. And then set your knees down, stretch back to child's pose. Come right back up onto your hands and your knees. Set the elbows down, interlock your hands, curl your toes under, lift your knees, lift your hips up. Preparation for Shirshasana. Reach down through the forearms, roll the inner shoulders to the outer shoulders, pull the hips up. Try not to let your upper back around. Imagine I have my knee in your upper back. Then walk your feet back into plank on your forearms and hold there for 5 breaths. Set your knees down. Child's pose, stretch back. Then come up onto your hands and your knees, bring your right foot forward, left knee down. Hold here in low lunge, or if you have the flexibility to, bend your knee and reach back with your hand for your foot. Reach down to the top of the left knee, roll the navel up towards the chest. Then release your foot and come into the half splits. Bring your hips back over the top of your knee and wiggle your front foot forward. Work to elongate the spine as you breathe the right leg towards straight. You could be up on fingertips, or if your hamstrings are super tight, you can come up onto medium or tall blocks, and that'll help. Then dorsiflex the foot, pull the toes back towards you. And change sides. Left foot forward, right knee down. Hold here in the lunge, or bend the knee and reach back with your hand for your foot. Release your foot, bring your hips back over top of your knee, then wiggle your front foot forward till the leg is almost straight. But try not to let your back hunch up. If you need to, come up higher up on fingertips or blocks so that you can get long. Then dorsiflex the foot. And we'll come into preparation for Supta Virasana now. So bring your knees close together, feet hip distance apart, so the hips can fit in between, and then slowly start to sit back towards your heels. So if this is difficult, if you have bad knees, you'll just work on bringing weight back. Slowly, don't push it. But if your knees are pretty healthy, you can sit up straight or sit with a block underneath, then do that. If sitting up straight and your knees feel pretty good, then you can come into this next stretch where we start to walk the hands back. And if that's feeling a-okay, then you're going to roll the shoulders back, open up your heart, and then press down into the shins and lift the hips up. Then lower your hips back down. Walk your hands back towards you. And then lie down on your belly. And let's work on up dog now. Place the hands next to the side ribs. If you have blocks, you can really get deep into your up dog with blocks underneath your hands. It'll also help if you have tighter shoulders. Reach back to your toes, press the tops of the feet down. Then roll your hips through towards your hands and roll up into your upward facing dog. Roll the shoulder heads back, roll the side ribs through the arms, and then start to lean the back of the head back as you lift the chest up. Then lower back down onto your belly. Bend your knees and see if you can reach back with your hands to grab a hold of your feet. Phase 1, you'll just stay here, holding your feet, lengthening your buttocks. Phase 2, start to roll the chest open and stretch the shins back. And then lower yourself down. Just baby steps here, nothing dramatic. Press up onto your hands and your knees. And stretch back to down dog. Then come back into your Virasana. If it's too much on your knees to sit like this, you could sit cross-legged instead and twist to your right. Twist to your left. Come back to center. Then sit flat on the block if possible and stretch one leg out in front of you. If it's too much to sit like this, you could just sit with the front leg in a tree pose position and then start to fold forward over your leg. So once in a while I get some comments like, we don't do very many of the seated pose variations, like this one for example, or we don't do much inversion stuff. So a lot of this stuff I put in the videos for the conscious movement community, which I'll put a link to in the description. And there's also a link that pops up at the beginning of the video. But these hour-long videos, I get more time to explain this stuff, and we get more time in the practice to like hang out in the stretchy poses at the end. Come back up and change sides. So it's a great way to deepen your practice if you're interested in that. Then inhale, come back up. And come into Upavista Konasana. Sit with your legs wide apart. Put your hands in front of you and sit tall. Roll the inner groins down. Let the sit bones start to spread. And then see if the hands can start to walk forward a little bit. Let yourself ease into it, don't push it. So especially with the stretching at the end, we don't want to like try to jam our body deeper into the stretch. Just be where you're at and breathe. On a scale of 1 to 10, you should be at like a 5. Then inhale, come back up and bring your right leg into Janu Shirshasana. Heel towards your pubic bone, turn to face your left leg, and then start to lengthen out over your left leg. Inhale back up, change sides, stretch your right leg out, bend your left knee, and start to lengthen out over your right leg. Inhale, come back up. Cross your right knee right over top of your left knee as best you can. Now to get the knees to cross, you might need to put a block underneath your hips. That's fine. Sit up tall and then start to tip forward if possible. If your hips are already too tight, just work in the upright seat, or you can start to fold forward to any degree. Inhale, come back up. Then take your right arm behind your back from under. Raise your left arm up. Bend the elbow and slide the hand behind your head. Now if the shoulder's real tight, it might push your head forward like it's doing for me. That's okay. Instead of pushing your ribs out to get your head back on top, slowly just start to lean your head back. It might not get all the way back into position, that's okay. Breathe your spine even taller. And imagine you're pulling the hands away from each other. Release that and change the cross of the legs. Other knee on top. And then start to fold forward any amount. It might just be that you work on your upright seat. And just remember with yoga, like the more you practice, the easier it gets. The more your body gets used to it, the more the body starts to open up. So don't push yourself right away if it's a new pose. Inhale back up. Take your left arm behind your back from under, right arm from above. Keep your rib cage aiming straight down towards your hips in neutral. And then start to lean the head back if it got pushed forward. Imagine the hands are pulling apart, or if you're flexible enough to bind with the fingers, then actually do start to pull apart. Release the arms, stretch your legs out in front of you, and fold forward. Then come back up. And this next one is only for the healthiest of necks and lower backs. You can either hold with the legs up, or you can take the legs up and over into plow. Then slowly roll yourself out. If you're in plow, set the feet down. And we'll do a little fish pose to counter. Press the elbows down. Lift up onto the crown. And then release. Open your arms out to the side for final spinal twist. Cross your right ankle over your left knee and let your legs fall over to the left. Come back to center, change the cross, and let your legs fall over to the right. Come back to center and stretch your legs out for Shavasana, horse pose. Take a deep breath in, fill your lungs from the bottom all the way up to the top, and let it out. Just let your body drop now, completely let go. And gently bend your knees. Roll over to your side. And press yourself up. Bring your palms together. Namaste. Thanks for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you liked, what you'd like to see different next time. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.